They told us we were miners, just humble contractors, hired to extract rare isotopes from the crust of Elter 3. We wore company uniforms, used company tools, and followed orders from AI supervisors whose eyes were always just a little too cold. They gave us clean quarters, ration meals, and no history. But something never felt right. At night, I'd wake with my heart pounding, drenched in sweat, fingers twitching for a weapon I couldn't remember ever holding. Others had the same dreams. Not of mining, but of screaming skies, fire that fell like rain, and monstrous things that bled black and shrieked like broken glass. We never spoke of it openly. Not until the day McIntyre dug up a skull. It wasn't human. Charred. Fused with metal, the thing had mandibles and empty sockets where eyes might have been. Our scanner said the site was sterile, but beneath layers of sediment we found thousands more. A mass grave. Some bones wore shredded armor that matched our suits. Same alloy, same structure. But the insignias were unfamiliar. A red eagle, a serpent of circuitry, a blood-stained crescent. We reported it, of course. The company told us to stand down. They sealed the shaft, said it was an ancient war unrelated to us. That night, half the camp went blind. Just gone. Pupils gray, minds vacant. The rest of us began to remember. It came in flashes. A woman screamed, static choked over comms. A burning city with banners that bore our flag, Earth's flag. Orders barked in a language I hadn't spoken since I was a child. The real language. We weren't miners. We were soldiers. The war hadn't been ancient. It had been ours. And we had lost. They hadn't just conquered us. They'd rewritten us, wiped the survivors clean, and scattered us across colonies like broken toys. Some of us died in our sleep. Brain hemorrhages. Others clawed at their skulls until the bleeding stopped them. I held on. I needed to know. Dr. Cass was the first to crack the company files. She found them buried under 6 terabytes of encrypted protocols. Orders marked human nullification. Executive directive. Not a war. A genocide, followed by a cerebral purge. Our memories weren't erased. They were buried. Nanotech, deep-seated blockers, tied to visual and auditory cues. All it took was the wrong sound, the wrong image, and the dam broke. McIntyre's skull? That was the trigger. They didn't count on our biology. Our species doesn't forget trauma. It hurts. You can coat it in lies and smother it in amnesia, but it festers underneath. Our minds had clawed their way back to the surface like soldiers from a shallow grave. They sent containment teams next. Not security, cleansers, suits with no faces, wielding weapons that burned through stone and flesh alike. They came at night, silent as whispers. But we weren't helpless anymore. The instincts kicked in before the memories did. McIntyre took one down with a pickaxe, moving like he'd been trained to kill since birth. He had. So had I. So had Cass. Our fake lives shattered like glass. And beneath it we found fire. We ran, sabotaged their transports, hijacked a beacon. We thought we were calling for help. We thought Earth would answer. But Earth didn't exist. Cass broke the last firewall, tears streaking down her face as the truth spilled out. Earth was glass now, ash and cinder. A scorched sphere, sterilized by orbital bombardment 18 years ago. They didn't want peace. They wanted to erase our species. And they almost did. Almost. We weren't the only ones waking up. Across systems, other colonies, really internment zones, were reporting chaos. Sabotage. Riots. Whole camp went dark. The sleepers were remembering. And we were angry. We gathered on an abandoned refueling station, deep in the Hadean belt. No names. No ranks. Just survivors. A dozen at first. Then hundreds. Then thousands. They called us fractured. They called us broken. But we remembered. They sent diplomats, wrapped in synthetic flesh and honeyed words. Promises of peace, rehabilitation, reintegration. We sent them back in pieces. We weren't interested in peace. We wanted justice. We needed ships, weapons, coordinates, every fragment of our past we could scrape together from the bones of a war we hadn't agreed to forget. And we found it. Cass pulled a location from deep in the purge logs. Origin Facility Theta Prime. The first neural cleansing lab. The blueprint of our destruction. We hit it like lightning. Breached orbit in stolen vessels. Rolled debris fields through their defenses. Landed in the core and tore it open from within. The air was poisonous. The halls twisted metal in agony. But we fought like demons because we remembered. The things inside weren't like the skull McIntyre found. These were worse. Evolved. Designed to destroy not just our bodies, but our minds. Creatures built to rewrite. One brushed its claws against my helmet, and I heard my mother's voice begging me to stop. But it wasn't her. I crushed its throat with a rail spike. In the deepest vault, we found the archive. Every human mind ever taken. Files, flickering with memories. Birthdays, weddings, battlefield cries, first loves, last breaths. Billions. We uploaded them to every frequency, every channel, every satellite and scavenged combui. Flooded the stars with our pain, our fury. And they heard. The empire that was thought was extinct started to fracture. Infighting. Panic. Even their own citizens recoiled at what they saw. We had turned memory into a weapon. And now we're more than survivors. We are witnesses. They erased our memories. We still remember the war. And now, so do they. Because the last thing they'll ever see before we bring their walls down is the truth they buried, burned into the stars, etched in blood, and whispered through clenched teeth across every scorched battlefield.